Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 1990s Represent. We're still in our sixth cycle of 1992, talking about a movie. In this episode, we're talking about Split Second. I had not seen this movie in probably at least 10 or 11 years. I remember seeing it probably on HBO, like in 1993. I think I watched it there a couple times. But yeah, I had kind of forgotten about this movie. I hadn't watched it in a long time, and I was looking for at a list of movies that came out in 1992. And the main one I wanted to watch, I think, was Lethal Weapon 3. And it wasn't streaming anywhere, like just bundled. It was you had to pay. It was like $3 or $4 to rent it. So I just kept scrolling through that list and saw a Split Second on there, and I have a DVD of it that I think it was like what I watched 10, 11 or so years ago, and decided to watch that because there was one scene that kind of stuck out with me that I really liked, and it's just a hilarious scene. I'll get to that a little bit later in the video. But yeah, I watched it again recently. I had a really good time with it. It's kind of a solid B movie. It's like sci-fi, it's horror. Um, it's like a detective movie as well, like a buddy cop movie at the same time. I have some notes here. We're going to go through those notes, and then I'll discuss the plot and things like that. So we just get the notebook open here. All right, here we go. So we have Split Second. It was originally released May 1st, 1992. Like I said, it's like a sci-fi horror slash buddy cop movie. Kind of a weird combination, but it works really well. I first saw this, like I said, on HBO in 1993, and it was kind of one of my favorite memories, like with some friends, because we had gone to see Jurassic Park. I think I mentioned this in the Jurassic Park video. So we all kind of dropped our bikes off. They came up, they're like, "Hey guys, hurry up, we're gonna go see Jurassic Park," and just kind of like spur of the moment. Went to see Jurassic Park. We got picked up after the movie. Went back to my friend's house, and he had a TV in his room, and I think one of them was somebody in one room was playing like I think it was like Link to the Past or something like that, the Legend of Zelda game. And then we decided to throw on HBO, and this movie was on. I think we maybe watched about half of it before I had to leave. But this was kind of when I think it came out. Like I said, it came out in 1992. HBO probably got it in 1993 or so. So it was on rotation for a while. So I was able to rewatch it on HBO and actually watch the entire film. So yeah, we're just hanging out with them, watching it. What do we have here? So again, I guess you could say it has like elements of like Lethal Weapon. Some of it feels like Predator because the monster in the movie is like hunting various characters, kind of similar to Predator. Also like Alien because the monster kind of has a design that's very similar to Alien, and also like on this most recent rewatch, the design also gives me just vibes of Venom from the Marvel comics. So Lethal Weapon, with it being like a police movie, and of course, Rutger Hauer's character gets paired up with a person that he initially doesn't like, and of course, over the course of the film, they bond and they become and they start working as a team, that kind of thing. So you get Lethal Weapon vibes there. Like I said, the Predator vibes from the Thing, hunting various characters, and then Alien, just kind of like the way it looks. It's set in the hold on, I gotta do air quotes for this. Set in the future. So comes out in 1992. The movie's set in 2008. So the movie is set 17 years ago, I guess. But it takes place in London, and it's kind of a partially flooded London due to like a bunch of rain. There's like a little opening blurb about global warming and 40 days of rain, which I think ties back into the theme because eventually they do have like some religious elements and like astrological bits about Satan and like Scorpio. So the 40 days of flooding kind of makes sense, and then also global warming. So the city is very just like the alleyways are completely like flooded. You can still drive through them, but it's like kind of like at the very least probably like ankle deep water in most of the alleyways, maybe more in certain areas. But yeah, the movie is just has a very like wet feel to it because like they're basically it's raining constantly or they're like driving around in like flooded streets. Um, so apparently, when it was written, they had to change some stuff in the script because apparently it was too similar to a movie called The First Power, which I have not heard of. I've not seen it, but they changed up the script there. They moved it from L.A. to London. Gary Scott Thompson was the writer, and I think according to my research to this, he was originally writing it with Harrison Ford playing the role. Harrison Ford in the lead role. It feels weird because I feel that would almost be too much like Blade Runner. I mean, Blade Runner is like sci-fi dealing with replicants, and you could easily see if it would feel too much like Blade Runner to have Harrison Ford in the movie. But then Rutger Hauer agreed to be in it, which is also interesting because he's also in Blade Runner. So yeah, Rutger Hauer, of course, like the main lead in this film. It was just directed by Tony Maylam, and I think he got stressed out during the filming and had to step away. And then Ian Sharp finished the film. I think a lot of the scenes toward the end of the film, because in the credits it'll say like additional scenes directed by Ian Sharp. So Ian Sharp stepped in to finish directing the film. Kind of not great reviews. It's kind of like a guilty pleasure. I don't really like using the term guilty pleasure because if you like something, you probably shouldn't feel guilty about liking it unless of course it's something actually like bad, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of a silly movie. There's a great quote. I'm gonna pull up a Reddit post about this and just read this quote here. Somebody was asking in Reddit, I think it's in the horror movie subreddit or r/horror HORROR about this movie. It says it's this person is asking. It says it's not a good movie, but it is fun. Rutger Hauer, Kim Cattrall, and Alistair Duncan are awesome. IMHO. This is one of those cult classics that hasn't actually reached cult status yet. Best watch with friends. I kind of agree because it feels like it could be a cult classic if more people like watched it. But I always have like I said, watched it like probably twice in 1993. Watched it again like maybe 10 or 11 years ago, and then recently rewatched it, and I had a blast with it. Like I think I had more fun with this rewatch than I had on the original, watching it originally. The cast is great in this movie. So I'm actually just bring the cast up here. Let me see here. Pull this up. So again, you have Rutger Hauer. You have Kim Cattrall, who I kind of forgot was in this movie. You have Neil Duncan, and he plays Rutger Hauer's partner, or the partner that they assigned him with in the movie. And he's mostly known from doing, he's done like a few films. I think this is actually his first film. He did a couple other films, and then has done a lot of voice work in playing Alfred in a lot of the Batman animated films, the like direct-to-video Batman films, a bunch of TV stuff, and a lot of video game voice work, including probably most notably, I think he plays Mimir in the newer God of War game. So basically, more known for doing voice acting work, TV work, and not so much for film. But he's got one of my favorite scenes in this whole movie. So we'll get to this when we get to the plot as well. But Rutger Hauer's character is constantly eating, like his character portrait, he's constantly drinking coffee and eating these like chocolate things. At one point, they're like in a morgue, and the monster shows up, and his partner completely changes. Like it's like a complete 180. He's like, oh, like basically like seeing is believing. I'm all like, I totally believe you now. Let's go kill this thing. We need big guns to do it. And then his character started. Let me bring the actor's name up again. Yeah, Alistair Duncan's character starts drinking coffee and eating chocolate, becoming more and more kind of unhinged. It's kind of great because he's like drinks a cup of coffee, throws the empty like styrofoam cup behind him, grabs another one, drinks it, eats some of the chocolate, and then they're like, "We need big guns." They go into like the armory and get a bunch of guns, and then like they're carrying them around, and like I think it's supposed to be the chief of police. I don't think they ever actually tell you what position this guy is, but he's definitely a higher up than Rutger Hauer's character. And he's like, "What the hell is this? What's going on?" And his partner goes in about the Scorpio and like Satan and this thing like eating the hearts of people to like take their souls back to hell. And at one point he's like, "What's he talking about?" And then he goes into like some weird cryptic like Bible thing, and he's like, "What the f is going on?" It's just like a really great police chief kind of freak out moment. And then basically he's like, "Are you telling me this thing is eating the souls of people and taking them back to hell?" And then basically Rutger Hauer and his partner are like, basically, yeah, they walk out of frame like that way. And this other guy just walks backward. He's like, "What am I supposed to do? Put an APB out on somebody that looks like the devil and goes by the name of Lucifer? He's got long horns and a freaking tail." It's just like, it's just one of the best like police chief freak out like moments I can think of in like any kind of film. It's classic. That's just a great scene. But now we're actually going to come to the plot of this film. So, like I mentioned earlier, it's set in 2008, released in 1992. So futuristic by those standards, I guess. London is flooded with like 40 days of rain, as well as global warming. So the streets are all kind of like, alleys are flooded, streets are flooded. And Rutger Hauer is a kind of loose cannon cop, like think like Riggs from like the Lethal Weapon series. Stuff like that. And he's doing some of this. The whole thing is his partner was killed like some years prior to the movie beginning. You have a couple flashbacks of his character or the partner disappearing. But he's going around and he's doing some kind of like other investigations. And I think he steps into a bar. And I vividly remember this part from the movie is he goes into this bar. It's like a strip club kind of thing. And they're like, it's a 2-drink minimum, and he's like, well, I'll take 2 coffees then, so like whatever it was, but goes in, and I think he like goes in, and there's like a dog at the door, and he like actually like the dog is barking at him, he actually flashes his badge to the dog, he's like, "Police, fool," or I think he calls the dog a dickhead or something. But then they let him in, and he's like, "It's gonna be 50 quid." He shows a badge, and they're like, "Follow this guy." So he goes up to the bar, orders the coffees, and then he goes to like a phone to make a call. He's making a call. Some lady comes up. She's like, "Lady's like, hey, I'm going to use the restroom. Just make sure like nobody goes in there." And he's kind of just like, "All right, whatever." He's talking on the phone. Then you hear the lady scream. You don't see anybody go into the bathroom, but he goes in there, and this lady is like dead, blood everywhere. Has her heart ripped out. Her heart's gone, actually, I think. And then in blood on the bathroom mirror, it says, "I'm back." And then Rutger Hauer knows what this is. This is like the thing that killed his partner. So he is kind of like raising hell at the station about this. And I forget that, let me actually bring the cast up again. I forgot also that, I'm probably going to mispronounce his name, but Pete Postlethwaite is in this. The last movie I remember seeing him in theaters was The Town. I think he passed away in 2011. He was really great in The Town, and he was also, I think, the hunter in the second Jurassic Park Lost World movie. But he's one of the cops there. He's kind of antagonistic towards Rutger Hauer's character. The police chief is also kind of like, he's like, "What the hell are you talking about? All this like weird like eating hearts nonsense or whatever." And this is when they pair him up with his new partner, and he's talking about like shooting rats in an alley. Is what Rutger Hauer's like. Also, you don't see him do this, but like, and then that's when he realizes that this new partner's been following him under the orders of the police chief. So he's been following him around, and then they start trying to work together to solve this murder or whatever is going on. I think Rutger Hauer eventually goes back to the club, and you see him like laying on the ground, like looking up at the mirror, kind of like trying to like recreate the scene of the crime kind of thing. And people that own the bar are like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And they come back in, and like he heads out. But then also. Kim Cattrall's character shows back up, and apparently she is the ex-wife of the partner that disappeared, and also the love interest for Rutger Hauer's character in this movie, because Pete Postlethwaite's character later in the movie is like, well, once your partner disappeared, you started like hanging out with his wife or whatever, and he's like, it's kind of so I don't know if he's like there was like maybe like they were cheating on one another, something like that. That's kind of implied. But him and his partner are continuing to do these various like investigations. They actually take the police chief. There's another murder that's very similar, and they take a mold of the bite marks where like this person's heart was, or on a heart, and then they do a casting of it, and the teeth are just like these huge, like super long, super sharp teeth. So people still don't really know, what's going on. Kim Cattrall's character like eventually like stays over at Rutger Hauer's apartment. His apartment is like a complete mess. But there's a part where Rutger Hauer and his partner go out for breakfast, and they're talking about like being psychic, and they're like, he's like, hey, when you were born, he's like, what sign? He's like, oh, I was born in November. He's like, oh, you're a Scorpio, and he starts formulating a plan where it could be this thing where it's like this demon that's come back to like steal the souls of like eating the hearts of people and things like that. But they go to back to their apartment, and they have a shootout with the monster there, or they think they have a shootout with it. His partner actually gets shot in the chest and flies out of a window. His character's funny because like later you see in the movie he's like I saw you get killed. He's like, you never heard of the bulletproof vest? Like, I was wearing a vest when that happened. But they initially think he's going there to get Kim Cattrall's character, but it ends up just killing another victim instead. And Rutger Hauer's character notices that the heart of the victim was not taken. The character, this other person that was in the apartment building as well, is also dead, blood everywhere. But the heart, I think they got there in time to prevent the monster from taking this person's heart. So this person is in the morgue now, and they're like, hey, we can maybe trap this thing in the morgue because it's going to come back for this person's heart, which it does, and they have a shootout with it. And this is where his partner really just kind of changes his tune. He's like, okay, this thing that you're talking about is true. We need big guns to take this thing out. So that's when he starts drinking the coffee, eating chocolate. They go into the armory, and he's just like, we need big guns, we need big guns. And the armorer is like, well, we got this thing. This thing's like pretty big. We got this grenade launcher, and his partner is like, too small, too small. And one of the best lines of the movie is the armorer turns to Rutger Hauer's character, and he's like, what's this guy on? And Rutger Hauer like points in his mouth because Rutger Hauer is chewing on something. He's like, chocolate. So the guy's like eating chocolate, and the chocolate has made him be completely unhinged. It's a great scene. But they grab these automatic like 6-barrel shotguns. One thing I didn't like about the movie is that like if they are shotguns, like it has a clip, and you think that it would burn through that clip like really quickly. But yeah, they grab like a bunch of weapons. They then are on the way out. The police chief is like, hey, who authorized this? What the hell's going on? And this is where his character gives off the entire thing about like it being related to Scorpio. The upside down triangle is also a sign for water, and he's taking the souls back to hell. The police chief is like, what the F is going on? And he's like, you're telling me there's a devil walking around here eating people's hearts? And it's like I mentioned earlier in the video, great scene. The police chief eventually leaves, and they go back to Rutger Hauer's apartment. Kim Cattrall's still there, and then they're kind of waiting for this thing to show up, because this thing actually did attack Kim Cattrall at one point, and she's got like a bite mark on her shoulder from it. But they go there, and then the thing, I think, eventually like comes out. Duncan's character drives down the street, and they kind of like, I think like he gets like trapped in the back of the trunk. Like Rutger Hauer like unleashes him or lets him out, and they go back to the apartment. And I think they notice now that Kim Cattrall's character is gone, and you hear like this gunfire. And it's kind of funny because his partner now has just like basically annihilated a kitchen trying to shoot a rat. And he's like, what are you doing shooting at my kitchen? But they realize now Duncan, when he got attacked, he's got the symbol carved on his, or Duncan, yeah, that actor, he's got the symbol carved on his chest. And they align that symbol with a map of London, and they figure out where this thing is hiding. It's like in like an abandoned subway station. That the only way to get through it is you got to talk to this guy who basically like, I think in the credits it's called the Rat Catcher. But they go there and they're like, hey, we got to go to this we got to get into this subway. And he's like, you don't want to go there. We sent people there like a while ago and they never came back. And he's like, you guys are crazy for going there. But he gives them the keys to go, and they go into the subway station. And I think this is the same station where the partner disappeared, because in the flashbacks you actually see the partner standing in some water and just kind of like falls under the surface. That happens to the new partner as well, but he ends up like being fine. But then, yeah, they eventually come across the monster. They have a shootout with it. It takes a ton of damage. It takes like a bunch of shots to even damage it. At one point, I think they throw like a huge explosive grenade into like the subway that it's in. It's in like a subway car. That doesn't kill it. They eventually take a loose electrical cable and like shock the basically try to I think they electrocute it, which eventually makes it so the way Rutger Hauer eventually kills it is he punches into its chest, rips its heart out, and then shoots it, and it's dead, or so you think. The before the credits roll, you see it pan above the water, and you see bubbles like bubbling to the surface, like implying that maybe the thing is still alive, and that's kind of where the movie ends. It's just a cheesy blast of a film. I don't know if there's any clips of it on YouTube. If there are clips of some of the scenes that I really like, I'll link them below. I'll have to see if those actually are out there or not. But yeah, if they are, they'll be in the links in the description, hopefully. But yeah, they're just great, some great scenes, and it's just a very solid, like cheesy, cheesy sci-fi buddy cop movie. Like definitely a solid B movie, I would say. Definitely worth watching at least once. It's only an hour and a half, so it's not super long or anything like that. And it's got some great, like Rutger Hauer's character is great. Duncan, let me see the actor's name. Duncan, pull it back up. Yeah, Alistair Duncan's character. I think in the credits he's called Neil Duncan, but yeah, Alistair Duncan's character also great because he's kind of like you have the loose cannon, which is Rutger Hauer, and then Alistair Duncan playing the kind of the more straight laced cop until like toward the end when like he has like that complete turnaround. Again, one of my favorite scenes in the film. But that's gonna do it for now. We'll be back in a few days with a game from 1992. No idea what that's going to be yet before we jump back into 1993. So that's going to do it for now. So remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one.